Most traders, investors, and entrepreneurs believe that multiplying money is about finding the right opportunity. A perfect trade, a booming market, or a hot trend. But the truth is, wealth doesn't respond to opportunity, it responds to command. The ability to multiply money begins with the ability to command it. Not emotionally, not through hope, but through mental clarity, consistency, and conviction. Money is not random. It flows in alignment with your dominant state of mind. Every financial decision you make, whether to buy, sell, invest, or hold, originates not in the market, but in your perception of yourself in relation to money. The moment you feel scarcity, fear, or doubt, you unconsciously instruct your money to shrink, to flee, or to vanish. The moment you think with confidence, precision, and patience, you give money the command to grow. So, the first law of multiplying money is this: your money is a mirror of your mindset. You can't control markets, economies, or outcomes, but you can control your internal structure, the way you interpret risk, the way you respond to uncertainty, and the way you think about abundance. When your thoughts are disciplined, your behavior becomes consistent, and consistency is what gives money its marching orders. Wealth is not an accident, it is a reflection of mental order. To command your money is to move from reaction to response, from emotional impulses to strategic awareness. The difference between those who make money temporarily and those who multiply it forever is not intelligence, timing, or luck. It's their capacity to stay aligned with their command. When chaos hits, they don't crumble. When opportunity arises, they don't hesitate. They have trained their mind to give one clear message to the universe: multiply. Most people chase money, but those who multiply it attract it. They don't fight for control. They create the conditions for money to flow toward them naturally. How? By mastering three invisible forces: belief, discipline, and focus. Belief is the foundation. It sets the boundaries of what you think is possible. Discipline is the builder. It enforces the rules you live by even when emotions run high. Focus is the amplifier. It channels your energy into one direction until results become inevitable. To command your money is to understand that wealth is a side effect of who you've become mentally and emotionally. The mind that is scattered, fearful, or desperate will always create temporary gains followed by losses. The mind that is calm, certain, and structured gives consistent commands, and money obeys. When you learn to master that internal conversation, the one between your logic and your fear, you'll realize something profound. Money has always been waiting for your direction. It's not about how much you have today. It's about how clearly you can tell it what to do next. Command your money to multiply, and it will, forever. Your money mirrors your mindset, and this simple truth holds the power to completely redefine how you view wealth, trading, investing, and success itself. Most people assume their financial situation is the result of external factors, the economy, the markets, luck, or timing. But these are only reflections of something deeper, something internal, the way you think, feel, and behave in relation to money. Your mindset is the command center. It dictates your perception of opportunities, your tolerance for risk, and your emotional responses to gain and loss. If your mind operates from scarcity, fear, or impatience, your money will reflect that energy back to you with chaos, inconsistency, and loss. If your mind operates from clarity, structure, and confidence, your money will follow that order and begin to expand with precision. The subconscious relationship you hold with money determines how it behaves around you. Most people never realize they are sending conflicting instructions to their finances. They want abundance, but they think like victims. They desire growth, but they act from fear. Every emotional impulse, every thought of doubt, hesitation, or desperation translates into a signal that drives your decisions. You may convince yourself you are being logical, but if your emotions dominate your state, your actions betray you. The market doesn't punish you for being wrong, it reflects your internal inconsistency. Every result you see in your bank account is a feedback loop from your beliefs. When your mindset is built on scarcity, you become reactive. You start chasing trades, rushing decisions, or abandoning strategies because you fear missing out. The irony is, the more you chase money, the faster it runs away. Scarcity energy repels abundance. It tells money, I don't trust myself to hold you. On the other hand, when your mindset is rooted in abundance, you don't chase, you attract. You make calculated moves. You act from certainty, not urgency. Abundance doesn't mean arrogance. It means you understand that money is a byproduct of alignment, not luck. It flows to the mind that commands it, not to the one that begs for it. The reason your mindset matters more than your methods is that even the best strategy cannot save you from a weak internal state. Two people can use the same system. One will make a fortune, the other will lose everything. The difference is not in the charts, the tools, or the timing. It's in the belief system behind the actions. If you secretly believe money is hard to earn, that you don't deserve wealth, or that it always disappears after you get it, your subconscious will create conditions that prove you right. You'll find yourself hesitating when it's time to act, exiting too soon when you should hold, or holding too long when it's time to let go. Your internal story becomes your external pattern. To command your money, you must first command your mind. Awareness is the foundation. Observe how you feel when you make financial decisions. Do you feel pressure, anxiety, or excitement? Each emotion carries a vibration, and that vibration determines the quality of your actions. Fear-based decisions might feel protective in the moment, but they block opportunity. Overconfidence may feel powerful, but it blinds awareness. The ideal mental state for commanding money is balanced neutrality, a calm confidence that allows you to see clearly without distortion. In this state, you are not trying to control outcomes. You are aligning with probabilities. You accept uncertainty as part of the process rather than as a threat. Your mindset mirrors in your habits too. If your thoughts are scattered, your money habits will be scattered. You'll save without purpose, invest without structure, and spend without awareness. But if your thoughts are disciplined, your financial system becomes disciplined. You allocate money consciously, you manage risk intelligently, and you execute with patience. It's never about how much you make, it's about how you think while managing what you make. Wealth does not expand for those who treat it emotionally. It expands for those who treat it systematically. The difference between temporary earners and lasting wealth builders lies in their internal dialogue. Temporary earners are emotionally attached to outcomes. They celebrate celebrate wins too early and panic at losses too fast. Lasting wealth builders stay emotionally neutral. They understand that results are just data, feedback from the system, not judgments of their worth. Their mindset allows them to adapt quickly, learn continuously, and maintain confidence through uncertainty. This mindset creates compounding growth because it eliminates the biggest destroyer of wealth: emotional inconsistency. Your mindset is also the filter through which you interpret opportunities. Two people can see the same situation. One sees risk, the other sees potential. The market doesn't change, perception does. And perception is born from belief. If you believe the world is abundant, you will notice chances to grow. If you believe it's scarce, you will only see reasons to protect. Belief expands or contracts your awareness. That's why cultivating a strong mindset isn't motivational, it's mechanical. It directly shapes what you notice, how you act, and ultimately what you attract. To shift your mindset, you must reprogram your self-image around money. Start by detaching your identity from your current financial results. You are not your balance sheet, you are the consciousness directing it. When you stop identifying with struggle or loss, you stop creating it. Replace limiting thoughts with constructive direction. I am in command of my financial flow. I act from clarity, not fear. My decisions create growth. These affirmations aren't cliches, they are neural reprogramming. Your brain learns through repetition, and consistent repetition builds belief. Belief then transforms into action, and action reinforces the mindset again. A self-sustaining loop of growth. Money responds to confidence the way metal responds to magnetism. It gravitates towards structure, purpose, and certainty. Every time you doubt your ability to manage it, you weaken that magnetic field. Every time you trust your plan and act decisively, you strengthen it. The universe rewards clarity because clarity signals commitment. Indecision, hesitation, and emotional turbulence are signs of mental conflict, and money avoids conflict. It flows toward calm conviction. The more you understand this mirror effect, the more you'll realize that your external financial results are not the problem, they are the proof. They show you exactly how you think and what you believe. If you want to change the numbers, change the narrative. Focus on building mental structure before chasing financial structure. It's not enough to know how to invest. You must know how to think while investing. If your thoughts are reactive, you will sabotage your system. If they are grounded, you will execute it with power. Your money listens to your energy more than your words. You can plan to be rich, but if your emotional frequency vibrates at fear, you're sending mixed messages. The universe doesn't deliver what you wish for, it delivers what you are aligned with. Alignment happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction. When you think abundance, feel abundance, and act with abundance, money has no choice but to mirror that vibration back to you. Your mindset, therefore, is the command line that programs your financial reality. The wealth you hold is not separate from the wealth you think. They are one and the same, connected by the invisible thread of belief. Every dollar you gain or lose is evidence of that connection at work, silently echoing your state of mind in material form. Consistency creates financial command, and without it, no amount of strategy, knowledge, or opportunity can sustain long-term success. Most people approach money with bursts of excitement and waves of uncertainty. They commit for a moment, act with enthusiasm, and then withdraw the moment results don't match expectations. This cycle of inconsistency becomes the greatest barrier between potential and prosperity. To command money, you must first command behavior, and to command behavior, you must master consistency, the art of showing up with discipline regardless of emotion, outcome, or circumstance. Consistency is not about perfection, it is about direction. It aligns your actions with intention, creating stability in a field that thrives on unpredictability. When you are inconsistent, your relationship with money becomes reactive. You make decisions based on how you feel rather than what you know. One day you follow your plan, the next day you abandon it because fear whispers louder than logic. Every inconsistency signals to money that you cannot lead it, and money, like energy, follows order. It gravitates toward the mind and behavior that demonstrates structure. The person who acts with consistent logic builds trust with themselves, and that internal trust transforms into external control. Once you prove to yourself that you can follow through without needing instant gratification, you begin to command your financial outcomes with quiet strength. Consistency is the foundation of confidence. Each repeated act of discipline reinforces the belief that you are capable of managing and growing wealth. Every time you execute your plan faithfully, regardless of results, you're strengthening the internal framework that money responds to. People often chase complex strategies, thinking sophistication guarantees success. But the truth is, simple actions done consistently outperform brilliant ideas done occasionally. The compound effect of consistent effort is what transforms small habits into monumental outcomes. It's not the size of your actions, but the frequency and stability behind them that build financial mastery. The most dangerous mindset in trading, investing, or entrepreneurship is inconsistency disguised as flexibility. Flexibility without structure is chaos. It gives you permission to change your system every time discomfort arises. You might justify it as adapting, but what you're really doing is avoiding the emotional tension required for growth. Consistency demands that you stay grounded even when your emotions scream for escape. The market will test your patience, your system will face setbacks, and your discipline will be tempted by noise. Those who maintain consistency during these moments develop command, because command is born through repetition under pressure. To build consistency, you must eliminate emotional interference. Emotions like fear, greed, and doubt distort perception and lead to impulsive action. The key is not to suppress them, but to observe them without reaction. Emotional neutrality is the birthplace of consistent behavior. When you can recognize fear without obeying it, you gain the upper hand. You start to act from awareness rather than impulse. Every time you resist the urge to deviate from your plan, you reinforce the identity of someone who is in control. Identity is everything. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you'll act inconsistently. If you redefine yourself as disciplined, your actions will follow that new command. Consistency is not built in comfort, it is forged in conflict. When everything goes according to plan, it's easy to stay disciplined. The real test comes when the plan fails, when the numbers drop, or when the outcome challenges your patience. In these moments, your emotional system seeks relief. You might want to switch strategies, withdraw from the process, or chase immediate results. But these reactions weaken your internal authority. Every inconsistency tells your subconscious that short-term comfort is more important than long-term growth. Consistency, on the other hand, teaches your mind to delay gratification. It trains you to tolerate uncertainty while maintaining execution. Over time, this ability to act steadily in chaos becomes the ultimate form of control. Money responds to rhythm. Like a pulse, your habits must have a consistent beat. When you invest, trade, save, or build with predictable rhythm, you create patterns that the subconscious recognizes as safe and sustainable. This stability eliminates anxiety and replaces it with flow. You no longer overanalyze every decision because the system itself guides you. This is where true financial command begins, when action becomes automatic, detached from the roller coaster of emotion. You're no longer chasing results, you're executing a process. The process creates predictability, and predictability builds power. Most people fail not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack patience. They overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year of consistent effort. Money multiplication is not an event, it is a rhythm. The compound effect of small, consistent actions creates exponential outcomes that appear effortless to outsiders but are the result of invisible repetition. You can't see compounding until it breaks the surface. Consistency is what keeps you acting in faith before visible proof arrives. Without it, even the best opportunities dissolve under emotional instability. To maintain consistency, you must remove ambiguity. Unclear plans breed inconsistent behavior. Create structure so that every financial action has defined parameters. Decide when you invest, how much you risk, when you stop, and what you measure. This structure protects you from emotional decision-making. The structure is freedom. It frees you from confusion and impulsive deviation. Within structure, consistency thrives because the mind no longer negotiates every choice. It simply executes. The less you negotiate with yourself, the more consistent you become. Negotiation is the language of doubt. Execution is the language of command. Consistency is not exciting, and that's why few master it. It feels repetitive, predictable, even dull. But in that dull repetition lies the path to freedom. Every professional, whether in trading, business, or art, understands that mastery is built through consistent action long after motivation fades. The market rewards patience disguised as boredom. Each time you show up, refine, and execute, even when results are slow, you strengthen the neural patterns of success. Consistency reprograms the subconscious through repetition, turning success into a reflex. Over time, what once required effort becomes effortless precision. The irony of consistency is that it appears rigid but creates flexibility. When your system is consistent, you gain freedom from uncertainty. You no longer waste energy on constant decision-making. That saved energy is redirected toward awareness, creativity, and insight. You begin to see opportunities others miss because your mind is not trapped in emotional loops. Consistency simplifies your environment, allowing clarity to emerge. This clarity is what gives you the confidence to command money rather than chase it. You become the signal in a noisy world of randomness. Financial command is the natural byproduct of consistent execution aligned with clear intention. Each small, repeated action sends a signal to your subconscious that you are reliable, and reliability is the foundation of power. When you trust yourself to follow through, you stop fearing outcomes. The fear of loss diminishes because you know your consistency will eventually restore balance. The desire for instant reward fades because you understand that growth is inevitable through repetition. Every result, whether gain or loss, becomes data for refinement, not validation of worth. This mindset transforms you from a participant in the market to a master of it. Your consistency also shapes how others in the market respond to you. When your actions are stable, opportunities begin to align with your rhythm. People trust consistency. Markets respect predictability. The universe itself operates in cycles, sunrise and sunset, tides, seasons, and when your actions mirror that natural order, you move in harmony with abundance. Inconsistency breaks that rhythm and disconnects you from flow. Consistency reconnects you. It tells the universe that you are ready to receive, not through force, but through discipline. The deeper layer of consistency lies in intention. You can perform the same actions daily, but if your intention shifts from faith to fear, your results will reflect confusion. True consistency requires mental alignment, your actions, emotions, and thoughts moving together. When intention wavers, consistency collapses. That's why it's essential to maintain mental hygiene, guard your thoughts, control your environment, and feed your focus. What you repeat in your mind becomes what you repeat in your reality. The inner pattern defines the outer pattern. Over time, consistency reshapes identity. You no longer have to convince yourself to be disciplined, you become disciplined. You no longer chase motivation, your habits carry you through. Every repetition imprints confidence deeper into your system. This is when you reach the level of automatic command, when doing the right thing is no longer a choice, it's your default state. At that point, money becomes a reflection of your inner order, not a goal to chase, but a result that follows. Discipline turns intention into multiplication, and without it, every vision, goal, or dream about wealth remains a silent thought with no force behind it. Intention alone is not enough to create movement. You can plan, visualize, and affirm abundance, but if you lack the discipline to execute those intentions with precision and consistency, your ideas dissolve into mental noise. Discipline is the bridge between mental energy and material results. It is what transforms potential into progress. In the world of money, discipline is not just a virtue, it's a requirement. Markets, opportunities, and strategies reward structure, and structure can only exist where discipline lives. Without it, your financial journey becomes a series of emotional reactions instead of deliberate choices. Discipline begins in the mind before it appears in behavior. It starts with the ability to manage thoughts, impulses, and emotions that constantly pull you away from your goals. The mind seeks comfort, discipline demands control. When your thoughts wander toward fear or excitement, discipline brings them back to focus. It's the internal mechanism that separates what feels good now from what creates power later. People who master their finances are not the ones who make the most money at once, they are the ones who can control themselves the longest. Discipline is not about restriction, it's about alignment. It keeps your actions aligned with your higher purpose, even when your emotions try to bargain for shortcuts. Every intention to grow money requires a structure of disciplined behavior to sustain it. Without discipline, even good intentions produce chaos. You can want to save, but without the discipline to avoid unnecessary expenses, the desire stays abstract. You can want to invest wisely, but without the discipline to stick to your system through uncertainty, you'll sabotage your own progress. Discipline turns desire into process. It gives your intention a form, a rhythm, and a foundation. When your daily behavior matches your long-term goal, you create momentum that multiplies automatically. That momentum becomes your greatest asset, more powerful than any market prediction or external opportunity. The most successful traders, investors, and entrepreneurs understand that discipline is not built during comfort, it's built during chaos. The mind learns stability by facing uncertainty without breaking. Every time you resist a temptation to overtrade, to overspend, or to give up, you strengthen the muscle of control. That muscle compounds over time, just like money does. Discipline grows through repetition. You can't become disciplined by deciding once. You become disciplined by deciding daily, even when no one is watching, even when no immediate reward appears. Each disciplined choice deposits energy in your future, building invisible capital that eventually manifests as real financial growth. Discipline also protects you from the greatest enemy of wealth, inconsistency. Without discipline, emotions drive your actions. You might follow a system one day and abandon it the next. You might take profits too early out of fear or hold too long out of greed. Both behaviors come from a lack of internal command. Discipline silences the emotional noise and enforces order. It reminds you that long-term success requires short-term control. The market, like life, constantly tests your boundaries. It rewards those who maintain composure and punishes those who act impulsively. Each test is an invitation to reinforce your structure. Each time you remain disciplined in uncertainty, you tell your subconscious mind that you are in command, not your emotions. The reason discipline multiplies money is because it compounds behavior in the same way interest compounds capital. Every small act of discipline builds on the last one, creating exponential growth in control, confidence, and consistency. You begin to operate from a space of calm awareness instead of reactive energy. Your decisions improve because your perspective is no longer clouded by the need for instant gratification. Discipline teaches patience, and patience multiplies results. Every decision rooted in patience has time to mature, to bear fruit, and to create new opportunities. The impatient mind consumes, the disciplined mind compounds. To truly understand discipline, you must see it as freedom, not limitation. Most people associate discipline with restriction, the act of saying no, of holding back, of denying pleasure. But in truth, discipline is the highest form of freedom because it liberates you from the control of impulses. It frees you from dependency on emotion. When you are disciplined, you no longer chase motivation. You act out of commitment. You no longer rely on circumstances to guide your behavior. Your principles guide it. This level of autonomy is rare, and that is why those who master discipline often rise above the noise of the crowd. They no longer need to react, they choose. Discipline also refines focus. The indisciplined mind scatters energy in many directions, chasing multiple opportunities without mastering any. The disciplined mind channels energy into one direction until mastery is achieved. When your energy is focused, your results amplify. You begin to see that discipline is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it with greater depth. In wealth creation, depth produces strength. The person who sticks to one proven system long enough to refine it will always outperform the one who keeps jumping from idea to idea. Discipline gives you the power to stay when everyone else leaves, to hold your ground when others panic, and to act when others freeze. The root of discipline lies in self-respect. You cannot sustain discipline if you do not value your own word. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your authority. Every time you keep one, you strengthen it. The mind begins to trust itself only through proof. When your behavior matches your intentions over time, your inner voice becomes stronger, calmer, and more certain. That self-trust creates a foundation of stability that no market fluctuation can shake. The disciplined person doesn't need to control the outcome because they have already controlled the process. And when the process is solid, outcomes follow naturally. Discipline must also extend to how you manage success. Most people lose discipline not when they fail, but when they start winning. Success creates comfort, and comfort erodes structure. When you become too relaxed with your process, small cracks begin to form. Overconfidence replaces focus. Emotional indulgence replaces logic. This is when discipline must become sharper, not softer. True command means maintaining the same standards in prosperity as you did in struggle. Discipline is not seasonal, it's constant. It doesn't depend on your current situation, it defines it. To maintain discipline, you need clear systems and boundaries. The more defined your environment, the less room there is for distraction. Structure supports discipline the way a framework supports a building. Decide when you trade, when you spend, when you review, and when you stop. Build rituals that anchor you into behavior. Rituals automate discipline so that willpower is preserved. The human mind has limited willpower each day, but when you convert discipline into habit, you free mental energy for creativity and strategy. The goal is to make discipline effortless, not through force, but through repetition. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. The beauty of discipline is that it eventually replaces motivation. In the beginning, it feels heavy, like resistance. But as you continue to act with consistency, it becomes your identity. You no longer ask yourself whether to follow the plan, you simply do it. You no longer negotiate between emotion and logic, logic leads. That transition marks the beginning of mastery, when you move from effort to flow. Discipline becomes your second nature, and with it comes peace. Because when your actions are guided by order, uncertainty loses its power over you. Discipline is also contagious. It influences every area of your life beyond money. The same mental strength that allows you to manage your finances with precision also shapes how you manage your time, relationships, and energy. The mind doesn't separate disciplines, it multiplies them. The control you build in one area reinforces control in all others. This interconnected discipline creates balance, and balance supports growth. You can't command your money without commanding yourself. You can't build external stability without internal order. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen your foundation, and that foundation supports every level of expansion that follows. Ultimately, discipline turns invisible intentions into visible structures. It gives form to thought and direction to energy. It's the silent architect behind every success story, not the loud motivator, not the external inspiration, but the quiet repetition of correct action. Every day you act with discipline, you are programming your subconscious with a single message: I am in control. That message becomes belief, belief becomes behavior, and behavior becomes multiplication. Discipline transforms invisible potential into tangible progress through the power of unwavering control. Focus channels wealth toward growth, and without it, even the best opportunities dissolve into noise. In a world overflowing with information, distractions, and endless choices, focus has become the most valuable currency. It is the silent force that transforms scattered effort into directed power. Most people do not lack ability, they lack concentration. They waste mental energy chasing too many ideas, reacting to too many signals, and comparing themselves to too many others. The result is diffusion. Their energy spreads so thin that nothing compounds. Focus, on the other hand, gathers energy into a single point until it becomes a force of creation. The more focused you are, the faster wealth responds, because focus amplifies everything it touches. When your focus is fragmented, your financial results reflect that fragmentation. You start a plan, stop midway, and switch directions the moment you feel discomfort. You read one strategy, then abandon it for another. You let emotions, opinions, and external noise dictate your actions. Every time you shift focus, you reset momentum. Focus is what creates momentum, and momentum is what multiplies money. The difference between ordinary earners and extraordinary builders lies not in intelligence or luck, but in their ability to sustain attention on one process long enough for it to mature. Focus is patience in motion. It is the discipline of staying present with one path until it begins to yield results that others quit too early to see. The mind naturally seeks novelty because it equates newness with progress. But in reality, progress happens in depth, not variety. Focus means going deep into one skill, one system, one structure until you master its patterns. In that depth lies clarity, and clarity produces precision. When your mind is scattered, your perception blurs. You cannot see patterns clearly, and when you cannot see clearly, you cannot act decisively. Wealth grows in proportion to your ability to make precise decisions consistently. Precision requires focus. It's not about doing more, it's about removing everything that weakens your concentration. Every unnecessary action dilutes your financial power. Focus also determines how you interpret information. Two people can look at the same data. One sees confusion, the other sees opportunity. The difference is not in the data, but in the level of focus behind the analysis. When your focus is sharp, you filter noise from signal effortlessly. You see the few things that truly matter and ignore the rest. The undisciplined mind tries to manage everything and ends up managing nothing. The focused mind knows that less is more. It understands that the ability to eliminate distraction is more valuable than the ability to consume more knowledge. Wealth creation is not about knowing everything. It's about mastering the few things that make everything else unnecessary. Focus requires you to silence the external world long enough to hear your internal guidance. The markets, media, and even peers constantly project opinions that can pull you off center. If you let outside voices define your direction, you lose your command. Focus demands boundaries, mental, emotional, and sometimes physical. It's the decision to give your attention only to what contributes to your growth. Every distraction you entertain costs you energy. Attention is energy, and where attention goes, energy flows. If your attention is divided among multiple goals, you scatter your power. But when you concentrate your attention on one clear purpose, your energy intensifies and results accelerate. Most people mistake activity for progress. They are busy, but not productive. They confuse motion with momentum. Focus is what separates movement from meaning. Without focus, you can spend years in effort and still end up in the same place because your energy keeps looping in circles. With focus, every step compounds on the last one, forming a straight line toward mastery. That linear progression is what builds wealth consistently. The market rewards those who can sustain one direction through cycles of boredom and excitement alike. Focus turns repetition into refinement. It converts ordinary practice into exponential improvement. To cultivate focus, you must first decide what truly matters. Focus cannot exist without clarity. If you are unclear about your destination, your attention will drift toward whatever appears urgent. Urgency is the enemy of focus. It tricks you into reacting to noise instead of responding to purpose. The focused individual does not react, they prioritize. They know exactly what deserves their energy and what does not. Clarity eliminates hesitation because decisions become obvious when your priorities are defined. When you are clear about your outcome, distractions lose their power over you. Focus also requires emotional control. Every time you allow emotions like fear, greed, or impatience to hijack your attention, you lose precision. Emotional turbulence scatters focus because the mind becomes occupied with internal noise instead of external execution. The goal is not to suppress emotion, but to stay aware of it without letting it redirect your attention. Focus is awareness without attachment, the ability to see what's happening without losing control of where you are directing your energy. That state of awareness transforms chaos into opportunity because your mind remains anchored while others drift with every fluctuation. One of the most powerful aspects of focus is that it magnifies time. When you concentrate fully on one task, you enter a state of flow where time expands. You accomplish more in an hour of deep focus than in days of distracted effort. This principle applies to wealth creation as well. Focused effort over a long period compounds faster than sporadic bursts of enthusiasm. Every moment you remain concentrated adds invisible layers to your progress, building momentum until results appear seemingly overnight. What looks like sudden success from the outside is actually the accumulated effect of sustained focus from within. in. Focus requires saying no more often than saying yes. Every yes dilutes your power unless it aligns with your main goal. Most people struggle with focus not because they don't know what to do, but because they refuse to eliminate what doesn't matter. Elimination feels uncomfortable because it forces you to commit, but that commitment is what channels your energy into multiplication. Each time you say no to distraction, you strengthen the frequency of your intention. That concentrated frequency attracts opportunities that match it. The universe responds to clear signals, and focus sharpens that signal until it becomes magnetic. The human brain was not designed for constant multitasking. Every time you switch focus, you burn mental energy and reduce efficiency. The illusion of multitasking creates fragmented progress. True mastery comes from monotasking, giving your undivided attention to one thing until it's complete. When your attention is singular, your performance rises. You make fewer mistakes, gain deeper insight, and develop intuition. Intuition thrives in focus because it can only speak in silence, and silence exists where distraction ends. In that space, you begin to sense timing, rhythm, and flow, the invisible elements that separate average performers from masters. Focus not only amplifies action, but also refines perception. It teaches you to notice details that others overlook. It reveals opportunities hidden in plain sight because your awareness becomes sharper. The focused mind does not see randomness, it sees patterns. It finds order where others see noise. That pattern recognition is the essence of wealth creation, the ability to identify consistent behavior in seemingly uncertain conditions. When you can focus long enough to recognize patterns, you gain an edge that no external tool can replace. Focus is also tied deeply to belief. You cannot focus on something you do not truly believe in. Doubt scatters attention, and scattered attention weakens execution. Belief unifies energy. When you believe in your system, your process, or your vision, focus becomes natural. You no longer chase alternatives because your mind has accepted one path as certain. That certainty directs energy efficiently, allowing results to multiply. Every breakthrough in life or money begins when belief and focus align. The moment your mind stops entertaining alternatives, your power concentrates and creation accelerates. To maintain focus, you must manage your environment. The environment you live in either strengthens or fragments your attention. Physical clutter creates mental clutter. Negative conversations drain mental energy. Constant digital noise fractures awareness. Protect your focus by designing your space, habits, and routines to minimize interference. Simplicity supports focus. The fewer decisions you make about trivial matters, the more energy you preserve for what truly matters. Each layer of simplicity sharpens your attention, allowing you to direct it with greater intensity toward growth. Focus is not intensity alone, it is sustained intensity. Anyone can focus briefly, but mastery requires endurance. The ability to hold focus through repetition, setbacks, and boredom is what separates temporary success from lasting mastery. Focus doesn't demand excitement, it demands consistency. When your focus becomes unshakable, you no longer chase momentum, you create it. The mind that can hold focus long enough can turn even average actions into extraordinary outcomes because energy accumulates wherever attention stays undivided. When you focus your energy on growth, you begin to attract and multiply it. Focus creates order, order creates confidence, and confidence accelerates expansion. The moment your attention locks on a one clear objective, the world starts aligning around it, removing unnecessary noise and presenting pathways you couldn't see before. Focus is not just a tool, it's a state of consciousness where every thought, emotion, and action moves in the same direction, transforming potential into power and intention into reality. Belief defines the limits of abundance, and everything you attract, create, or lose begins within the invisible boundaries of what you believe to be possible. Wealth is not first a material phenomenon, it is a psychological structure. Every financial result you experience is the visible expression of an invisible belief system operating beneath your awareness. You cannot outperform your beliefs because they determine what you allow yourself to perceive, pursue, and persist in. If you believe abundance is scarce, you will unconsciously create scarcity no matter how many opportunities you encounter. If you believe growth is natural and limitless, your actions, energy, and focus align to manifest that belief into tangible form. Belief is the architect, reality is its construction. Most people misunderstand belief as something passive, an opinion, or thought repeated often. In truth, belief is an energetic command that shapes perception. The mind does not see reality as it is, it sees reality as it believes it to be. When you look at money, opportunity, or risk through a limiting belief system, you distort what is possible. You begin to interpret abundance as danger, success as temporary, and loss as identity. The world reflects back to you what you expect, not what you deserve. Belief acts as a filter that decides which opportunities enter your awareness and which are invisible to you. Two people can live in the same environment. One sees expansion everywhere, the other sees limitation in every corner. The difference lies not in external circumstances, but in internal permission. Your beliefs create your financial ceiling. This ceiling is not determined by your skills or market knowledge, but by the stories you tell yourself about what you can or cannot have. Every belief is a mental boundary. When you say, "This is too much," or "I could never reach that," you place a ceiling on potential outcomes. The mind accepts that limit as truth and begins to operate within it, shaping behavior to fit the belief. Even when opportunities arise that could exceed your ceiling, your subconscious will reject or sabotage them to remain consistent with what it believes is safe. The subconscious mind values familiarity over success. It will choose struggle over abundance if struggle feels normal. This is why changing beliefs is not about adding new thoughts, it's about breaking old patterns of emotional identity. Belief begins forming early through experiences, influences, and emotional conditioning. If you grew up around fear-based conversations about money, scarcity becomes your default vibration. You inherit emotional patterns that feel real because they are reinforced repeatedly. Every repeated emotional experience solidifies into belief. Over time, those beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. You expect loss, so you attract situations that confirm it. You fear risk, so you miss timing when opportunity arrives. You doubt growth, so you pull back when momentum begins. Belief operates silently, scripting every reaction without your conscious approval. To change your financial destiny, you must first expose the silent scripts that govern it. The first step in expanding belief is awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. Begin observing your automatic thoughts when you think about wealth. What emotions arise? Excitement or anxiety, expansion or resistance? Each emotional response response reveals a belief underneath. For example, if the idea of earning large sums creates tension rather than calm confidence, it means your belief system associates abundance with danger or responsibility rather than freedom. Awareness interrupts automation. Once you see the belief, you can challenge it. A challenged belief begins to lose power because beliefs thrive in unconscious repetition. The next step is replacement. You cannot simply erase limiting beliefs. You must replace them with new ones that hold higher emotional vibration. The subconscious mind responds to repetition. Emotion repetition builds familiarity, and familiarity becomes acceptance. Speak, visualize, and act as if the new belief is already your truth. Each repetition sends new instructions to the subconscious, rewriting its programming. But emotion is the catalyst. Beliefs are not changed by logic alone. You must feel the energy of the new belief until it becomes real in your nervous system. When belief changes at the emotional level, the external world begins to shift naturally. Belief also determines your relationship with uncertainty. The market, business, and life are unpredictable. Those with weak belief systems interpret uncertainty as threat. Those with strong beliefs interpret it as potential. When you believe that everything serves your growth, you stop resisting fluctuation. You see losses as feedback, not punishment. This shift in perspective allows you to remain calm when others panic. Calmness leads to clarity, and clarity leads to command. The unshakable belief that you are always in control of your response gives you an advantage greater than any technical strategy. Wealth flows to those who believe stability is internal, not external. Belief influences not just perception, but physiology. The body reacts to what the mind believes. When you believe in scarcity, your body enters contraction. Muscles tense, breath shortens, energy drains. This state limits creativity and problem-solving ability. When you believe in abundance, your body expands, breath deepens, energy flows, intuition sharpens. This expanded state increases awareness and attracts synchronicities. Your physical state broadcasts your belief to the external world. Money, like all energy, responds to vibration. The vibration of certainty magnetizes, the vibration of fear repulses. Your belief system is not a private thought pattern. It is a frequency that communicates with reality. To command belief, you must practice evidence building. The mind strengthens what it can prove. Start recognizing every small instance of abundance in your life. Every time money flows easily, every time opportunities align, acknowledge it consciously. This trains your mind to associate abundance with normality instead of exception. Over time, you recondition your nervous system to expect flow. The more evidence your subconscious collects, the stronger your belief becomes. Belief, like muscle, grows through repetition and reinforcement. The more you act in alignment with an abundant belief, the faster that belief becomes your identity. Another dimension of belief lies in self-worth. You cannot hold what you do not feel worthy of. Many people unconsciously repel wealth because they feel undeserving of it. They might work hard, succeed temporarily, and then lose momentum because their inner narrative says, "I'm not ready for this." Belief in unworthiness creates self-sabotage disguised as circumstance. To expand abundance, you must align self-worth with intention. The moment you believe you deserve prosperity, not as a reward but as a reflection of your natural state, you open the channel for continuous flow. Worthiness is not arrogance, it is acceptance of truth. You are not earning abundance, you are remembering it. Belief also dictates resilience. When your belief is weak, setbacks become reasons to quit. When your belief is strong, setbacks become evidence of progress. The same event, a loss, a delay, a rejection, carries different meanings depending on belief. Those who multiply money indefinitely are not the ones who avoid failure, but the ones whose beliefs remain intact through failure. Their belief acts as an anchor that holds them steady through turbulence. They know that the external environment can shift, but their internal conviction determines how they navigate it. Every time they stay calm through adversity, they deepen their trust in their own power, and that trust compounds into greater capacity. Your beliefs also influence how you interpret other people's success. If you hold the belief that others' success diminishes yours, you will operate from competition instead of creation. But if you believe abundance is infinite, other success becomes proof of possibility. You stop comparing and start expanding. The abundance mindset sees no scarcity in opportunity because it understands that reality expands according to consciousness. The more you believe in collective expansion, the more your personal expansion accelerates. The mind will always test new beliefs with temporary contradictions. The moment you decide to believe in abundance, life may present challenges that seem to prove the opposite. This is not punishment, it's calibration. The universe tests belief to confirm your certainty. Each test is an invitation to choose faith over reaction. When you hold your belief steady through evidence of lack, you strengthen its foundation. The subconscious learns that your new belief is non-negotiable. Once that conviction stabilizes, external reality must reorganize to match it. Belief is also dynamic, it grows as you grow. The beliefs that served you when you earned your first 1,000 may limit you when you aim for your first million. You must continuously upgrade your belief system to match your expanding vision. Stagnant beliefs create stagnant results. Keep stretching your perception of what is possible. Each time you redefine your limit, the universe expands your reach. Belief sets the size of the container through which abundance flows. The larger your belief, the larger the flow that can move through it. Everything begins and ends with belief because it defines the edges of your awareness. You can only experience what you allow yourself to expect. The universe mirrors not your desires but your expectations, and expectation is belief in motion. When belief expands, everything around you expands with it. The moment you decide that abundance is infinite and that you are its rightful participant, the invisible barriers of limitation begin to dissolve, and what once felt impossible becomes inevitable.